Jai Sriman Narayan. Jai Sriman Narayan. Jai Sriman Narayan. I pay my obeisances to my spiritual master, Srimad Jagat Guru Sudarshan Acharya Ji Maharaj. I pay my obeisances to Lord Sri Ramanuj. I pay my obeisances to the Purva Acharyas. I pay my obeisances to the 12 Alvars. I pay my obeisances to Mother Lakshmi. And I pay my obeisances to Lord Sriman Narayan. I welcome all of you present and physically here at the Sri Narayan Dham in Durban, South Africa. I welcome those of you that's watching this discourse live, locally, nationally and internationally. And I welcome in advance those that's going to be watching this discourse when it is posted in the various groups and YouTube subsequently. In pursuance of our topic that started on the 28th of this month and continues to stream through up until the 27th of May, I would like to bring in a simple example again so that we can understand the absolute science behind the bhakti movement. The bhakti movement, as I've stated yesterday, was re-established in this, the 28th Kali Yuga, by the three Alvars, Poigai Alvar, Bhuta Alvar and Pey Alvar at the end of Dwapara Yuga in South India. This movement, I stated, was a vaccine to overcome or neutralize ignorance born from karma since time immemorial. This absolute science was revealed to humanity through absolute devotion. Devotion means bhakti. Through absolute bhakti and in the revelation of this union with the Supreme, these scientists sent forth by the Supreme Personality of Godhead also showed practically how this bhakti is realized. However, bhakti is a combination of a journey from the mode of ignorance to the mode of knowledge. And bhakti is combined initially with physical duties performed without acknowledging the fruits of the results. or without depending on the fruits of the results of the action performed. Then knowledge to understand why one must not perform actions awaiting its fruits. And when that knowledge is attained, then one becomes qualified to offer in totality pure devotion to the Lord. So I want to explain simply. Gurus around the world have ashrams, shrines, land on which the ashrams are based, and most Vaishnavites should have goshalas and gomatas. So for a neophyte devotee or a devotee who attended for the first time, who is in the mode of ignorance, it is impossible to teach, because this ignorance has been imprinted in the mind of the neophyte devotee since time immemorial. And it is difficult to undo this ignorance with immediate effect. So neophyte devotees will be given manual work to do in the ashram. They'll be asked to dedicate their time, and they will be asked to assist the ashram financially from time to time. When this trade begins between the devotee and the ashram, the relationship between the devotee and the ashram starts to get magnetized spiritually. And when I say magnetized spiritually, I want to explain that when metal is in ignorance, it is metal, and when metal is placed on a magnet continuously, then it loses its ignorance of just being a metal, and it now carries electromagnetic waves and become magnetized, having the same qualities as the magnet. So similarly, the ashram, the gomatas, the guru are magnetized perpetually by the supreme magnet, Lord Sriman Narayan. And when a neophyte devotee starts attending these ashrams and attending classes of the Guru, they are given manual chores so that they can become magnetized slowly. and they are told that perform your duties and you will be connected to the Supreme Personality of God through the performance of your duties. However, do not trade the duties you are performing for anything material. Otherwise you'll remain an iron. If you want to become magnetized, then you have to lose all your attachment as an iron and for other things that are made of iron. Because if you rub many iron together, you won't get a magnet. If you want to become a magnet and become magnetized, then you can only place yourself in the electromagnetic field by losing your identity as an iron. And this is why it is stated that when you start performing duties or karma yoga to start a union with the Supreme Lord, then you must not desire any fruits. Do your action and await the fruits of your actions as desired by the Supreme Lord. And when you perform, not counting the minutes and seconds, not counting your money cent to cent, not counting your loss of energy, simply performing so that you could unite with the Lord, that is called karma yoga. And when you perform this union called karma yoga, then your intellect, when you perform karma yoga as per scriptural injunction, this will make you inquisitive to know more about the ashram, about the activities in the ashram, and about the Supreme Lord. Upon this inquiry, you will come to a stage called Gyan Yoga. Although this is a very, very vast topic in the Vedas, because it comprises of the entire Bhagavad Gita, 108 Upanishads, the Brahma Sutras, and all the Vedas culminate in this inquiry for the purposes of attaining Bhakti Yoga. You get into Jnana Yoga simply to find out who you are. After acquainting yourself with all of these injunctions, you need to realize that I am not this body. I am a soul that is residing in this body, and I have also resided just in this creation, in this 28th Kali Yuga, for 155 trillion years, I have been residing in these material bodies. I was either had an aquatic body, or I was a plant, reptile, beast, bird, or human, or the body of a Devi or Devta. And I continue changing bodies, life after life, for I have not understood the concept that I am not this body. I am in this body since time immemorial, as I have been ignorant with beginningless karma. When you ponder and when you understand as I have stated, then the next pondering should be, how do I, whilst living in this body, live in a manner in which I am not attached to the reactions of my mind and my body. When you are truly thirsty to cut the knot of ignorance, then the Supreme Lord from within will assist you. Very quickly, I myself was in darkness for almost 40 years of my 57 years on this planet Earth. Initially, I was born in a spiritual and religious family, if you could call that, in South Africa. And once I chose science as a subject in high school, I cut ties with all spiritual and religious dimensions. I embraced science as a total reality, and then I studied law, which assisted me in removing myself further and further from spirituality and religion. And this was total darkness. I continued in this fashion for almost 30 years. And then I started questioning this darkness from within. Throughout all of this, I was a humanitarian and I was involved in many humanitarian projects, committees. I joined politics. I always wanted to make a mass difference in my life. Deep down, there was something telling me that this was my destiny. However, wrapped in a mode of ignorance, I was looking at all the wrong avenues when this calling was beeping deep within me. And it was due to my total ignorance that I could not heed this call earlier. So, my very first introduction to religion and spirituality started with another institution, and I got involved in Karma Yoga quite seriously, and then I was introduced to the institution of my Guru Swami Sudarshanacharya Ji Maharaj. And at this place of worship, my family and I busied ourselves in Karma Yoga in its totality, and we derived a lot of pleasure simply serving our Guru. But I want to make it understood that it was not always like this. For somebody told me that Swami Sudarshanacharya Ji Maharaj can grant any wish. I'm going to elaborate the story later in this month. Just for now, for the purposes of this discourse. So I wanted a new car, and I went to this institution on a Thursday, and on a Monday I had a new car. And I was very pleased with my Guru for giving me this car. So I entered the ashram with the wrong intention, and I asked my Guru for the wrong thing in my very first satsang. However, after performing Karma Yoga for many years, I simultaneously started thirsting for knowledge, for this entire concept of Guru and a neophyte devotee was brand new to me. So I wanted to know more. And the more I thirsted, the more my Guru provided me. In South Africa, it is almost impossible to get knowledge that one requires in a Guru-disciple relationship or Vaishnavism or Sri Sampradaya. At that point in time, I didn't know anything. I was in absolute ignorance. So although I was going to my Guru's ashram, there was no Guru there. I had to seek books from other ashrams. And quite interestingly, I won't name these ashrams, but the very first set of books I got was from Advaita. And I just felt it did not prick any interest in me. It was just dry. So I looked around and I found books in English on the Dvaita philosophy. I was elevated halfway, but I still felt that something was not right. And I continued thirsting until I started getting information directly from the Sri Sampradaya. So it's a scientific journey. It is absolutely scientific. If you look at my past and if you look at my present, which I will explain in detail, then for a person of my character and caliber, if this Sri Sampradaya was not absolute, it would be impossible for me to be sitting here today and giving discourses internationally. And this Bhakti Yoga that was re-established by the three Alvars is simply devotion. Is simply devotion. It depends how badly you need it. So remember, when you perform duties for the Lord with absolute abandon, do it simply for the Lord. And there is a great experience that one derives, and a state of blissfulness that nothing else matters. That nothing else matters. And I have proven this in modern times from a Western culture. I am an Indian guru, born and brought up in South Africa, and exposed to a Western lifestyle and a Western culture. Yet, simply through devotion, intertwined with surrender, I have been capacitated by my Guru and the Supreme Lord on par with Gurus that have been born in India, learned Sanskrit, lived in the culture all their life. And when I say on par, I do not mean I am equal to any one of them. I am an insignificant dust particle at the feet of the Sri Sampradaya, and I will always be there. When I say on par, I mean in disseminating the knowledge of the Sri Sampradaya. And this is the product of absolute spiritual science, when theory was applied practically, and I am that product of that particular experiment. Jai Srimad